Welcome, everybody, to the Tons of Productions podcast on this Monday, February 18th, 2019. Hope everyone's doing okay. I'm feeling not too bad. Still nasally, still getting over this cold, as you can hear. It's just hanging on, but I feel fine. So until it fully goes away, I guess I'm going to sound funny. Not much I can do about it. Anyway, today's show, I sit down and I talk with Milton NG, who is a guy I met on Arrow, a CW show, when he was gripping years back. And I went on his social media and looked at a bunch of stuff, and he has done so many independent film projects. It's unreal. He's got all kinds in IMDb for sure, but he's also just got regular YouTube videos that one after the other that make me laugh out loud. He had a series called The Followers. That was his recent one, and which he's also making into a feature film. So I can't wait for that. So if you want to check out his stuff, it's Milton NG TV on YouTube, and that's Milton NG TV. You'll love it. If you like fight scenes that are funny, he's really talented, and I've really enjoyed talking to him. So here you go. Here's Milton NG.
You are listening to the Tons of Productions podcast.
Glad to be here. Still waking up.
Yeah, we became friends a long time ago. We worked together on Arrow when I was production assistant, and you were Grip, I believe. And when we met, we had become friends on Facebook right away. And that's how I found out that you did a lot of independent stuff. Because I do myself. I know a lot of people in the indie world. And that was, I was surprised. I was like, oh, wow, so you never know, right? You come across all these people.
There's always, I always find when I meet a filmmaker or a creator or anyone that has ambition to do something more, I always have this instant connection with them, I find, on set. And also, Mike, you being a production assistant, as like production, if for those that don't know what a production assistant is, we're like a startup. It's like your entry level job for all your listeners out there in the film business. And I think for me, I started off as a production assistant, and that kind of made me have this very mutual respect.
Yes. And
I guess that's the word you call it, mutual respect for production assistants. So every time I saw one, I just talked to them, and then if I connected with them like we did, I just connect with them. But I was
Well, the funny thing about this is I was a production assistant on Smallville.
Oh, what season? That's when I started. I started season 9.
I can't remember the number. It was the last or second last season. And I was doing Stargate Atlantis. That was running at the same time. So until I got a show call on Stargate Atlantis, I was doing that just day calls. And I'd go out there and do 1 or 2 days. And then with Michael and David.
Michael Haka.
Yeah. And
he was a character.
Oh, yeah. I've worked with him on Arrow. You saw him on Arrow, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he did. The locations on Arrow for a little bit until Finnan came in. So he basically covered while Sean did a big movie. He covered for the first 2 episodes or something, and then...
I would always say, I always remember Michael Haka was the first guy in my film career that gave me the call.
Oh yeah,
I will remember him because he's a great dude. Remember you start talking Star Wars with him, and he goes bananas in Star Wars. But Michael Haka, I remember he called me. He left a voicemail. It was like mid-afternoon, and this was just 3 or 4 months out of film school because I asked the guy to get me on, and I didn't think he would get me on, but then I get that call. I guess there was a no-show, and I came in. Left a voicemail for me. I got my bag. I jumped on a bus. I went to Royal Oak.
You were excited as hell.
My first time, because one, I watched the show. So I was I would say I was second year in Vancouver. So me seeing any type of celebrity, I was going to be starstruck.
Bring this a little closer.
Oh, yes. Okay. There we go. There, you can hear my voice now.
A little better.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's start with your beginnings.
Sure.
Let's go because we're starting halfway through. So
yeah.
I'm just excited that when I looked up at your IMDb, I'm like, you worked on Smallville? That's hilarious. We probably worked together, or maybe.
I literally only did probably 3 or 4 weeks on that, probably 2 episodes as a PA.
Oh, okay.
So that was towards the end.
Oh, okay.
But what's funny is a year later, I came back and I had a bag with me, and there were some people like, "Hey, Milton, you're back to PA." I'm like, "Nope, I'm here to grip."
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Oh yeah.
But I still remembered the guys, and I have a Smallville story actually. There's a few actually. Like when you're on your first show, and you're just so in love with the show.
Yeah.
I remember the last day. This was season 9 Smallville. We were doing a rain scene at Boulder Studio there.
Okay.
And I remember
exterior.
Interior.
Oh, interior
it was
rain.
Interior rain towers. It was cool to see because I never knew how they did it. So when I saw the special effects brothers just blast this rain, I was like, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
And then I talked to the special effects guy, and they're like, yeah, we use warm water. We don't use cold water because that would make your actors really cold. So I'm like, that makes sense because like these actors are just chilling in rain. Like they'll do like kiss scenes or whatever bullshit. And they're just, yeah. So now I figured it out. But I remember doing that PA work, the PA's job. There was like 5 PAs. We had to go under the studio, and they gave us a bunch of suctions. Remember those things, like water suctions, like in case your house flooded, you get these suctions.
Oh, okay.
So we had these things that you suck out, and they'd suck the water into like this pail, and then you were supposed to take the pail.
It was like a siphon thing.
Yeah, and they gave us like, you get like 4 small ones and like 6 big ones or some shit. So there was, I guess it was very messy in how we did it. And I remember we did it on this day. It was a night shoot.
Okay.
So when I did it, I was like, there's got to be a better way. So we found a bunch of woods, like a bunch of planks and everything. So what I did, I just took charge. I'll remember this moment because it's so fun. So imagine you're under the stage and rain's just dripping down, and you're making pools and pools of water. But without control, the water's going everywhere. Because some parts, they're higher than the others. So originally, the key PA would put, like, I forget his, Jason Bettman? I don't know what it is. He would put suction cups, one in area that he would think that are the deepest, which makes sense. Right? But there had to be a better way. So this is what I did. We had those squeegees, those big giant squeegees, right? So I took these planks and I built like walls in the water. So wherever the water would come, we would place the PAs, like 4 or 5 of us with these big squeegees, and we would literally shovel the rain towards each other. So if Bob had the rain on one side, he'd shovel it to the B guy. Then he would basically, it was like a fireman's drill.
I've done it.
So we would actually pass the puddles of water to this one pool area, and that's where we put all our suctions. So we literally put all our stuff, because if you ever work with the suction, they work at its finest when there's the most water.
Right.
So because if you have a little water, it's only sucking a little bit. But by putting all the suction in one spot, we would overpower with water, and that would suck the shit out of it.
Oh yeah, it would be
and
gone.
then it would go straight in the pool, and that was one of probably my most memorable moment on Smallville.
And that's where you stepped up, and you were brand new.
Just leading that pact, and I was just like, I was having so much fun. Like we were just like obviously I had some days where I would guard. Like my first day, I was guarding Crafty, and it was just fascinating because I would see like Tom Welling and I think the Allison Mack. That's her name. She played
those
Chloe.
The actors on that?
Yeah, those are the
actors. I never
actors.
watched the show.
Oh, you never watched the show?
No,
okay,
no.
I
only worked on it.
I watched the show religiously. I love that show. But I remember seeing all those guys. That was cool. But I remember after we finished that rain scene, Tom Welling, Superman, or Clark Kent, whatever, would come down. He had a towel over his head, and he thanked us. He's like, "Hey, good job, guys. Thanks for doing that," because he knew how hard we were working. Because every time we're walking back, and like I was smiling. Like it was like 4 a.m. I'm like, I got my two jugs of water, like 20-liter pop. I was like 22, so I was like a hustler, and I'm just freaking going outside, and I'm just dumping the water.
Wow.
And that was a great PA story. There's actually, I mean, I could riff on so many PA stories. That's like where
I've got a trillion too. I mean,
that's where it all started for me, and that was the Smallville story.
Nice. Okay, well, I noticed that you grew up in legal Alberta.
Yes, it's actually pronounced legal.
Okay,
No one will ever. Yeah, everyone
They'll always say legal.
Everyone always say legal because that's they think illegal and then legal. But yeah, it was legal Alberta. It was a population of probably 1,100 people.
Wow, small.
So super small town. This is just out of Edmonton, like in Alberta.
Oh, more middle-ish Alberta. I
Yeah,
guess?
more middle-ish. And me and my family, we ran a Chinese restaurant. You know how every small town has like a Chinese restaurant?
Yeah.
That was us. Yeah, we had a Chinese restaurant. It's like half Chinese food, but half like Western cuisine.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
so
Fries and burgers.
You can get your burgers, fries. You can get your steak, your pork chops, via cutlets. Like my dad made it for sure to cater that, and breakfast.
Right.
It was all about the breakfast. So yeah, I grew up there, and so many things happened in a small town. When you're the only Asian family, like there was this other Filipino family, but they didn't have any kids in school. So technically, me and my brothers, I had 2 older brothers, we were the only Asian kids in school, and there's like a class of 30. And I remember like every time in social studies when they mention like China or Chinese or anything or Asian, like no matter where I'm sitting at, Mike, they would turn around and look at me like, so what did you people do and all that. Or if it was a bad thing, they would just look at me. I'm just like, what the fuck? I didn't do shit.
I'm Canadian,
right? So I had to literally deal with that for about 9 years because there's a school that went to grade 9, and then after grade 9 you go to high school, which is a different school, which is like a 10-minute.
What year was this roughly?
For school?
Yeah, like how old are you?
I'm 31. Oh my god, I'm 31.
You're young. You're young.
31.
I'm 50 this year, dude.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Big 5-0. We got big plans. Gonna get drunk as fuck for a big 5-0. Hey, you look like 42. 42?
Well, thank you. I don't really care.
It's you know what? I remember one of my customers, my dad's customers. He was actually like because in small towns everybody knows everybody.
Right.
And I was like probably 11 years old in the restaurant, and he came up because in the kitchen there's like a big window.
And your dad was the cook?
Yeah, he's a cook, and my mom was a cook too. So,
okay.
Well, my dad was like owner, chef, whatever, right? So my dad was just cooking some food, and that friend would just come up, and he would just like shoot an elastic right in his back. And then my dad's like, "Yo, what the hell? How old are you? Still doing this? Is like kid stuff." And then the guy's like, "Hey, the younger you think you are, the longer you live." I think I got that wrong, but he said something.
No, the youngest you feel.
The youngest you feel, or the younger you act.
Oh, act maybe.
I think it was that. The younger you act, the longer you live. One of those mentalities, which makes I'm a strong believer of that.
Oh, me too.
Because you hear like little stuff like kids in kindergarten, you would have like 2 plants right in the back of the room. You have 1 plant. People would every day they go up to that plant and say, "I hate you," and then they go to the next plant every day, "I love you."
Yeah.
Which one dies faster?
Yeah. That was the guy from Japan, wasn't it? Did the test with
Is
water. Remember, and it had crystallization, and he put hate, and he put "I hate you" and the devil on these different water, and the crystals that formed were like dirty and broken up or whatever. But when he put "I love" and acceptance and all the good positive words, it was like it looked like snowflakes. It looked like beautiful formations. So
that was in Japan, you say?
There was a scientist from Japan that did that. I forget his name though.
That's kind of cool because I believe in that kind of stuff, and that's
that's what you say and what you think and your intentions create your physical reality. It seems.
Yeah, true
and
that.
and actually that's what it is. Our connection, even though it was brief and it was on Arrow.
Yeah.
We can talk to each other fluently, and we had that connection because we're both indie filmmakers. We both were in that world, and like you said before, you have an instant connection with someone who is above and beyond.
Exactly.
Just being a PA, you have 10 things in your pocket or whatever going on.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that is kind of off topic on what you're asking. Well, the small town stuff, because we're on the topic of this, is I still somewhat keep in contact with some people I still work with, but I remember because I was a grip, right, and I had people that I work with that were filmmakers, And for me, like I said, I have an instant connection, but it's a sad story. There's a part of me that really gets kind of, what do you call it? I wouldn't say crushed because I'm not crying like a little bitch about it, but there's some part of me that when I hear somebody wants to be a filmmaker and then I ask them, so what's your next project? What are you doing? And it's not me trying to, like, I'm trying to test them.
You're
but
not zesting them.
I'm just pushing them because I want to be pushed like that too.
Right.
But I would ask, like, I have some filmmaker friends, and then I would ask them what they're working on, and then they just come up with a bunch of excuses.
Oh, yeah.
Like, excuses. I'm like, well, I'm too tired and all that. Because for me, when I was gripping for 7 years, the first 3 years, or 3 or 4 years, I would actually hustle my ass off, be a keener and all that. But literally when I got onto Arrow, I started to build the foundation of just knowing everybody, being comfortable. I always tell this to new people is, because some people are like, oh, why are you so smiling all the time? You know, I think when you're coming on a film set, you're working with people for 12, 14, 15, 16 hours, right? It's you want to make as many, I call it, well, there's two ways. It's like you're making friends of it, obviously, because, you know, it's your family.
Right.
At the same time, you're also making allies, right? And you want everyone to be your ally. I mean, it's impossible to make everyone your ally because I'll talk to people, I'll get along with them, but then some people I talk to them, I don't get along with them, right? But what will help you is if you're in a pinch, sometimes from someone from another department, because you already built that connection with them, they will go out of the way and help you.
Yeah.
Because stuff like, I remember I'll be gripping and stuff, and I'm like I forgot a sandbag or something, and then someone, there's a guy, his name is, do you remember Nick Props? No, Nick Setdeck off of Arrow.
Nick Setdeck.
He came in season.
Oh yeah, I remember Nick. I remember
amazing
Nick.
Dude. Like he would always help out
Yeah.
gripping. Because so I think there was many times where I would miss something. He's, oh, hey, here's a sandbag, and he would be able to give that to me in time before my boss knows, or the DP. The DP was such a hard. He was a hard ass. He was hard on everybody. I totally went off topic there. But okay, to go back.
But really, when it comes down to what I understood is, plus you have the passion. That's the other thing that keeps the smile on your face and keeps you. Every time I ever talked to you, it was positive, and I would help you just as quick as you'd help me.
Yeah.
And that was really what it came down to. Oh, can you get the door? Can you do this? Can you do that? Whatever. Of course. I feel like, oh yeah, I would help. But other grips on Arrow didn't know their name. And not because they're bad people, but they're kind of locked in their own family of their own thing, and they don't know the guy working beside them in set deck or in electrics or something.
Yeah.
And not knowing them, I don't know.
It's tough. Like there's a lot of people that will, like, there's like some people would just talk amongst each other, which is like fine. Sometimes it's kind of like high school kind of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously you get the thing like, oh
The
my God, it's
rockers,
the cast.
the preps,
yeah, it's like, oh, it's the cast. You can't talk to the cast. Like I've talked to the few cast, but I wasn't like really tight with them. I was kind of in my own little world too sometimes. But here's a story. Like back to my other topic, I was talking about like how I would meet like filmmakers, but there were some times where I was talking to a filmmaker, and I was just asking them what they were doing, what's the next thing, and just come up with excuses. And there's this one time I remember I was reading this book, all right, this Robert McKee storybook, amazing book, and this one guy was he was a board op.
Okay.
Cool dude. I always got along with him. He came by, looked at the book, and he said, hey, I remember this book. I was like, and then at the time, oh shit. I was like, you read the book too? He's like, yeah, I was going to be a writer, blah, blah, blah. He said he went to New York or LA, I forget where. He did his workshops, and then the camera was about to roll, so he had to go back to his board op, whatever, right? And I was like, yo, I found another me here. This is awesome. We can talk movies and projects. It's great. Like, so I went up to talk to him after they cut, and he was telling me he did that for a while, spent like, a few $100, maybe a couple thousand, and said that he couldn't do it. He said he lost passion for it, or he didn't use those exact words, but he says, I think his exact words, like, I just realized I'd rather just come here and, get paid $500 a day, kind of stuff.
Well, people get locked in those paychecks.
The golden handcuffs. That's what they call it.
Yeah, golden handcuffs.
Golden handcuffs. Yeah. Dude, okay. But yeah, when he said that, I started feeling, my mind just said,
you quit gripping.
No. My mind said, no, I can't talk, because right now he's giving me all this energy that's crushing my dream.
Right.
But of course, in my heart, I'm thinking there's no fucker's gonna crush me. Right. I'm a warrior inside. So if anyone tries to crush my dream, like my dad and my mom would try to crush my dream once in a while. Like
they didn't like it.
They would say like, okay, so I don't know if I'm fast forwarding from your questions. I don't know if we should stay on topic, but I could go to the part of me quitting.
Well,
or is that too early?
I was just going to go to how you got into VFS.
Yeah, let's start there.
Okay, yeah. You worked at your parents' restaurant, and then you got into VFS. There's an Alberta film school you didn't get into?
Oh, yes. Where'd you read that about? This is awesome. You did your research.
IMDb.
Oh, shit.
On biography.
Hey, shit, this is cool. This is cool.
Hey, dude, I don't...
Yeah, Mike here at Tons of Productions don't fucks around. No, does not fuck around. So I think I'll start from the beginning is... When I was in high school, I've always wanted to create. I was very influenced by Goosebumps. Do you remember Goosebumps?
I do remember Goosebumps.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
I love that series by R.L. Stine. I really enjoyed it. So I always wanted to write my own stuff. And I remember, man, in grade 3, I was so influenced by these books. I would write some really gory shit. Like, oh, wow. Can I share one of the gory stories here?
Okay, sure, of course.
So... If for those listeners out there ever remember Goosebumps, there was this one book called A Night in Terror Tower, all right? And it was about the siblings going into this castle. And then I was just so influenced by it, and I wrote my own version of it for grade 3. And I remember my characters would go into like this haunted castle, and they'd open this door, and they would see heads on stakes. Oh my god! And I'm in grade 3 writing this shit. I think also because I had older brothers, right? And they're older.
And what are you, grade 3? You're like 8 or 9 years old?
I think 5. Yeah, I think I was like 8 or 9. Oh, that's
you're a kid.
Imagine if you're a teacher and you reading this shit from an 8-year-old. You're like, what?
Okay, what's going on home?
So what's going on? Yeah, I was really influenced by all these books, and my older brother's friend would always they would always rent like movies like Leprechaun. Do you remember Leprechaun?
Yes, I do remember Leprechaun.
Shit.
That's hilarious.
I watched Leprechaun my first time, and I remember that was really funny. I remember this really iconic scene where there's like this garage, and this garage, they had like this big blonde chick with big old titties, and this guy would look at them, and he would just get closer and closer. But what he's not seeing is blades. It was actually blades. And I'm just watching this. I don't know how old. I was so young, probably 10 years old. And then all of a sudden,
he's just sliced up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my childhood watching these movies. Probably I'll blame my older brother. But that kind of influenced me and probably R.L. Stine, to influence me to write all these gory stories. But then in grade 7 or 8, I don't know what happened. There was something switched that I just loved comedy. I just loved writing comedy stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I forget what happened, but I think it's probably because I got in a lot of shit from my teachers.
So you're like,
okay. I got a story. Okay. Speaking of like my childhood, of just like the upbringing of what I would write, and one of them, there was this cartoon. It was called Mighty Ducks.
I know Mighty Ducks.
Where they shoot pucks. Mm-hmm. Remember, that was an epic series, right? So I would always play street hockey with my brother's friends. Everyone's older, so I think when I was grade 5, they were like in grade 7 or 8, and I remember like there was a lot of bullying happening at that time, and one of the kids, they kept on calling him a cocksucker.
Okay.
And I'm playing goalie. I love playing goalie, right? And they just call this guy a cocksucker, like nonstop.
And when you're young, it's a big deal. Yeah.
Well, for me, big deal. I didn't even know what a cocksucker was.
Oh, at the time. Oh, because you were.
I think grade 5.
Yeah.
Grade 5 or 4 or whatever. I was super young, and as I'm hearing this word,
you're thinking of a rooster.
No, I wasn't thinking of a rooster. I was thinking of a cool name.
Oh.
So what I did was I wrote a story in language arts class, and it was like based on 5 characters, kind of like Mighty Ducks, hockey players or some shit. And I named one of my characters Cocksucker. And what's funny about this is okay, in our school, there was teachers that would do grade 3, but then sometimes they would teach a higher grade, like grade 5 or 6 language arts class, right? So anyway, the teacher that gave me shit for level 3 was the same teacher in grade 5.
Okay.
That's just how it worked. I don't know how it worked, but whatever. But she took me aside one time and said, "Where did you hear this?" And I was like, "Oh, we played hockey." Like, who do you play hockey with? Oh, my older brothers. Like, Jean-Paul. Yeah, it was Jean-Paul. Jean-Paul, if you're listening to me. Jean-Paul and Mark. There's a guy named Mark Bailey. I haven't kept in touch with these guys for like 20 years. But I remember these guys. They were cool. But yeah, it was these 2 guys calling this kid a cocksucker. So I think I name dropped them.
So accidental comedy that just happened because you didn't know.
I had no idea. I didn't even know what a cocksucker was. She did not explain to me
Oh, she didn't. Oh, okay.
She just told me this was an inappropriate word or name, and I had to change it. So then I changed it to puck sucker. Puck sucker. So I changed. Yeah, I just remember reading, because one of the most exciting thing of writing a short story was to read it in front of your class.
Right.
I found I love those. But yeah, I remember reading my story and I was just saying puck sucker, and it just sounded so weird every time I said, "Oh, puck sucker does this, puck sucker that." But yeah, that was my story thing. So yeah, and I'll get into how I got there. So yeah, I did a bunch of stories in elementary. I would move up, and yeah, I would get a lot of questions from my teachers. They're like, "What is this?" I had this one scene where my character would wake up in the morning and have like a finger ache. And then I would have a hair ache. And then I looked up at the moon, and the moon would smile back because I smiled at the moon. And I remember my teacher gave me shit for having this type of humor.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, Mrs. Bourdain. I remember her.
Oh.
Mrs. Bourdain. I think she was
Anthony Bourdain's stepmother.
Hey, she was the same one. She was the same one that gave me shit for the cocksucker.
Okay.
I don't blame her for that. But this one,
but years later, and she's like, "Oh,
I was pissed.
Just hasn't given up."
I was pissed. It's crazy because I saw this teacher all the time. I don't know how, but yeah, I was pissed off because she said the only kid that would think that is funny is Matt Brill, who is my friend.
Okay.
So she said this story was basically shit. So that kind of crushed me a little bit. Right? When you're a freaking kid, you get crushed by a teacher. Teachers out there, if you're crushing your kid or crushing your students in anything, you should not be a teacher. And you should go fuck yourself. Like, seriously.
Yes, well, there's another side of that, though.
Okay.
When a teacher crushes you, you have to, that is an early sign of rejection, which you need in this business, and you need to grow a thick skin. You need to be told, this is shit, over and over, because all of my beginning stuff was shit, and I'm like, my stuff was shit. But if you don't stop and you keep going, the next time it's not. It's not that it was bad. Hey, maybe she was a mean person. I'm not saying, but it's not necessarily bad to reject someone when they're starting to get into writing.
You know what? That is true.
Because you're a better writer today because of that.
Probably because of that moment. Yeah, because it actually adds it's part of like the catalyst.
I'll show her.
Yeah, because it's like your revenge success kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way if you put it like that way, but I still hate her.
Oh yeah, no.
Fuck her. Fuck her for that, man.
She's probably dead now, right?
No, I don't think so.
No.
She's But enough about her. Enough about her, Mike. But yeah, just growing up with just loving writing stories and everything. And I think the defining moment of just wanting to like direct and shoot stuff was I took drama class in grade 10. Oh, there's something I need to mention too is before doing all this, I was actually super, super shy. Like the shyest kid in class.
Okay.
Like I would not speak. Like in kindergarten, if there's like the national anthem, the morning prayer, everyone would stand up. You have a piece of tape that you have to sit on.
Right.
Do you guys had that back then?
Yeah.
So we had a piece of tape, and I would just sit on that tape, and everybody would stand up. I would never stand up. Obviously, it's like, now that I look at it, I'm like, fuck, man, that's disrespectful, man. National anthem's going on. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but you're a kid.
I'm
a
kid.
Know.
I was so shy about everything. I didn't say anything. I didn't talk to anybody. I was like a mute. And then the moments where I said something, and I remember like there'd be a kid named Kyle in my class, and he'll say, "Oh my God, Milton said something." Hey, hey everybody, come over here. Milton said something, and then he's like, "Say it again." And I'm like, and then I say, "Apple," and they go, "Oh my God, he said something." So it took me a long time to get really comfortable with just talking.
Well, because you public speak. You did you enjoyed saying your story in front of the class, so and that was what, years later, right?
Yeah, years later.
It took a few years.
Yeah, I was still super shy. And I think the whole comedy aspect came in grade 7. That's when I started talking a lot.
Right.
I started talking a lot, and then
you're coming online, and everything was just flowing.
Oh, it was nonstop, and then every time we get to high school,
and your parents are like, "Shut up!"
I got in so much shit for talking too much. Like I remember, here's another story in high school. I was in chemistry class, and the teacher purposely... Oh, this is actually interesting. Miss Christensen, she was a science teacher. I don't know, biology or some shit. She purposely put me in a spot with none of my friends. because when you're a teacher, you start to realize who's friends with who.
Right, and you don't want to be distracted.
So she put me all the way in the back of the corner with people that I just don't talk to.
Right.
But of course, knowing me, I just end up talking to them anyway.
Yeah. You're like me. Like, yeah.
So I just started talking anyway.
Yeah.
But the defining moment why I mentioned this is her husband was probably a huge catalyst into launching me, because in grade 12, because he teaches drama class, right? So from grade 10, 11, 12, I'm taking his class, and in grade 12, there was this one assignment is take a scene from like a theater, and I want you to direct it. You're going to direct it, and you're going to have a few actors and do your thing. And for me, something inside was just so exciting. I was like, this is awesome. This is going to be fun. But out of everybody, I went up to Mr. Owen and I said, can I write my own? And he's like, sure, yeah, you can write your own, but everyone's picking one. I'm like, oh, I want to write my own. So I wrote my own. It was called Cheating with a Cause. I still remember it. I forget what the story is. Something about kids cheating on a test, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay. Something relatable to kids.
Yeah, it's something, some ridiculous shit that happened, right? Drunken.
But comedy.
Yeah, it was strictly comedy. Like,
okay.
It's funny because, anyway, we did this scene, we rehearsed it, and I remember, like, when you do that's another exciting moment in high school is when you're about to portray, because before, like, grade 10, 11, we would do the acting in our theater class, and you would have your audience, which was fun. But when I directed this one, because it's my own creation, literally all the power to like creative control, and I remember presenting it, showcasing it to the classmates, and at the end of it, everyone loved it. There was just so many funny moments in there that the audience loved. And Mr. Ohm was sitting probably like somewhat this close to us, a little further, and he looked at me and he said, Milton, great job. Either great job or good job, but he shook my hand. That was like just a moment that
it was a trigger.
It was a trigger that feeling of doing something good that was like, because he in a way could be a metaphor, say right now as a judge, a film festival judge or a critic or even somewhere of like a big producer. But that was a huge.
You found out what you're good at, and
it's what I loved, and
and
somebody appreciated it. The teacher. So. Moving from that, I went to college. I went to Red Deer College. I did open studies. I was doing like little films. Like I was always doing like little videos and films. Like
what camera did you have back then? Was it a VHS?
Man. It was like
or Betamax?
It was no. It was a Sony. My dad bought this from Chinatown. It was a Sony. I don't know what it was, but I didn't have editing software back then. Like we tried to copy. Jackass. Remember Jackass?
Oh, yeah.
So we called it Dumbass.
I get 20 years on you.
Oh, yeah. We did it from like grade 8 and 9. We did like 3 of these videos. We were stupid.
You did your own Jackass?
My parents have not seen it, but they've always heard stories like, what the hell's going on? Oh, here's a crazy one. In grade 8, because we were just shooting stuff with, like, okay, when we were shooting like Dumbass videos, the whole filmmaker mentality wasn't there yet. It was just shooting videos for fun.
Right.
There was no storytelling. It was just trying to make, I don't know. So I would make these videos, like some parts of like, we put hockey equipment on, or riding BMX bikes, or crashing each other, like jousting, or we would tape a boxing glove to the end of a stick, and we're jousting. And then there was one time they hung me from a soccer pole, from a rope, like tied to my feet, and then they put saran wrap on me, and then they chucked eggs at me. Oh. So Mike, when that happened, the counselor in the school found out and brought me in to talk to me because he thought I was getting bullied.
Yeah.
And
you're like, no, I wanted this to happen.
I wanted this. It was part of the video. And then he was just like really, Mr. McDougall, if you're listening, amazing teacher. I don't know where he is. It's crazy. Like if you look back at your high school teachers or your junior high, whatever, like there's obviously the shitty ones that, Miss Baudouin, you crushed me. Yeah. But hey, actually, to back up on that, even though as much as she crushed not my dream, but told these stories about it. I remember one time we had a flea market and I didn't have any money and everyone had money. She was actually offering me money. Like she was going to give me $2. So that was actually really sweet of her.
So she wasn't mean.
She wasn't mean, but she didn't like my work. But she was still human.
Yeah.
She was still human. That's crazy how you think about that. But anyway, just going back to high school. Come out of Red Deer College, and then I wanted to go back to Red Deer College. I did 4 months at Red Deer College, and then I wanted to do the motion pictures. I wanted to do film stuff because I've already shot some short films on my shitty camera. And when I was trying to get into motion pictures, they said, "Yo, you need 2 years of theater tech." I'm like, I don't want 2 years of theater tech. I want to get into film now. So
is that the school you applied to? That's what they said to you? You need 2 years of okay.
I had to do theater tech. So literally coming back to school, and I was like, should I?
So what's theater tech? Is that like a grip?
It's okay. Like theater shows.
Yeah, no, a grip on the stage, like you carry stuff. Basically, you're a grip, but for theater.
Yeah, in a school, you would learn that trade for 2 years.
Weird.
And you needed that before you go into motion pictures. So hey, Red Deer College, that's stupid.
Yeah.
It's seriously stupid. If someone wants to be a filmmaker, get in the program. And I didn't want to do that, so I wanted to stay close in Alberta, right? I looked at Calgary, right? And Edmonton, because, it's close. It's like 3 hours, right?
Yeah, they have a film industry, so it's
called
Calgary.
It's called SAIT, the Southern Alberta Institute.
Okay.
Yeah, so I handed my application there, and they rejected me.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. Because I was like, I want to stay close, right? On the weekends, I could probably drive back home,
Right.
And then at the time, I had cousins in Toronto, and my mom was like, hey, don't you go to Toronto? And I'm like, that's a little too far. And then there was a road show happening for VFS, Vancouver Film School, that came to Edmonton, and I was a salesman at the time. Because, I worked at a restaurant, but then I told my dad I needed to go work for someone else.
Right, you can't just do family stuff.
I was like 19 or something. I was working for my dad for all my years. I did not know the experience of working for someone else.
Out in the real world. And
yeah, so my dad actually he respected me for that, because like that's a good choice. So I did sales. So I remember going to that road show like mid break of my sales job, looking at this Vancouver Film School thing. I was like, that was cool. I remember telling my parents that, and my dad supported me. My mom didn't want me to go.
Oh yeah, it was your dad who supported you. Oh
well, my dad supported me. He said I should go because that's what I wanted to do. Because actually, my dad, when he was 22 in China, he told his dad he wanted to be an actor.
Oh, there you go. It's in the blood, just genetics.
Yeah, but guess what? What my grandpa said. I never met him, but he said my dad's not handsome enough. And that he'll never do it. He'll never become an actor. He told my dad that.
And it crushed his dreams, and he never pursued it?
He never pursued it.
Wow.
But I'll tell you later on in the story of what happened, like once we get through your questions.
Yeah.
But yeah, ended up going to Vancouver Film School, did that for a year, and then...
And how was that? I was going to ask you about VFS, because I never went to film school.
Oh, good for you.
Well, I have a lot of people went to VFS, and I know people that went to T.O.P.P.
Yeah.
I know people went to SFU. There's a bunch of different ones.
Well, I would say film school, because I was coming into Vancouver, I didn't know anybody. So for me, it was a fresh start. I was like 21, 22. This was January 2009. It's sadly to say, actually, I was actually in the middle of a relationship. I think it was like 3-4 months or something, and then literally it's shitty, but it just wasn't going well, and we had to end it literally on New Year's Eve. It was brutal.
Oh my God, that's next to Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it was.
New Year's is pretty bad.
It was brutal.
Christmas.
Now that I think about it, but it was. Well, I was making a big leap in my life, and I couldn't have that holding back, and I think we were both feeling it. But we're not here to talk about relationship shit. How did you even get here? How did this happen, Mike?
I don't know.
That was like 10 years ago. But yeah, Vancouver. How do I feel about the school? The school was good. We had about 30 students. And that was like I would say those were like my first friends.
Right.
And I still keep in touch with a couple of them.
Nice. And they all work in the film industry still, or?
Man, I would say.
How many?
What's so fascinating about, like, because it's $30,000 for 1 year.
Oh, I know.
And international students have to pay more.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit! International students got to pay like $45,000 or $50,000. So
per year, and it's 2 years.
It's 1 year.
It's only one year
course at film production. They made us go through like a documentary round, a producing round, all this stuff. So a lot of things have changed in the film school. I think I've talked about them. Like back then, it was just like you had to learn like set deck, which was kind of shitty because if you didn't want to do set deck, or if you didn't want to do producing, that was kind of a shitty thing for you because then you're paying money to do something that you didn't want to do.
But as you know, also in independence, sometimes you have to wear all those hats.
That's true. That's
so
true.
if you learn them all, it's actually a benefit.
That's true. But at the time when I was like 21.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
You're
like, why am I learning this?
I think the hardest thing with film school is ego. Like kids get a lot of ego these days with film school. Like I had a small ego, but I heard stories of people coming out of film school thinking they know hot shit. And then I remember there's one story on Planet of the Apes. Apparently a PA fresh out of film school basically told the director where he should put the camera. I that's what I heard. So when I heard that story, I was like, oh, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be good attitude, blah blah blah. And so
easy to work with.
Yeah, so I just tried to remain that. I just didn't want to be egotistical. But I remember some schools here, but I've worked with some people who are out of film school still today, and they come out thinking they know everything.
Oh no, they're the next Scorsese or the next
shit,
Tarantino.
Man.
Yeah,
chill the fuck out, man. Be humble. Just be respectful for people.
I PA'd for 10 years, and I dealt with so many new people, and that was the inspiration for my book. It was because how many times I had to say the exact same thing to people over and over and over, the same question, the same thing, and someone thinks they're hot shit but doesn't know what gack is, doesn't know what a honey wagon is, and you're like, okay, like I thought you were good, right? Like, I don't know.
I think for those kind of things is people got to learn how to do set stuff. Like even for when we were gripping, we would get people that just actually the union would send us like construction people or
that didn't know,
that didn't know what
they just want a day.
They wanted a day. I'm like, I think everyone's got to learn set etiquette one way or the other before coming on. Know where the honey wig is. Know what to do when someone says rolling. No sandwich rule.
Yeah, no, and the basically once you get in the union, then you have to do a set etiquette after a certain amount of time. It's a requirement, I think, to get in the union, isn't it? After so many hours.
Well, that set etiquette, I don't remember taking that. It was such a long time ago. I don't know how do they teach set etiquette there? Like,
it's a course that's usually at CAP, and I had one of my producers tell me her name. What was it? There's it's a woman who worked in the film industry for years anyway, and she runs a course that's for the union. And it's for IATSE.
I know why I didn't take it, because I went to film school. Film school was my
You're
set
exempt.
etiquette. Yeah, because I remember having to get. Yeah, that makes sense.
So you get to skip it, but anyone who comes from the painter world and construction or something, and then they have to take that, they don't know.
Yeah, they have to take that, or else look like a bunch of, I guess, your book.
Oh yeah, look like an idiot, and that was the joke, because I felt like an idiot so many times where I would say the wrong thing, but they would all turn around and look at you because you ruined a shot. You walked in, you did something, you made noise when you shouldn't have.
Oh yeah, or your phone went off.
Or my phone went off.
Your alarm?
Your alarm doesn't go off. What the hell? And you're like, and you blow the shot, and then everybody who's above a certain line, especially like first AD, director, all these people are looking over in your direction. You feel like an idiot.
Yeah,
and they're saying, "Who hired this idiot?"
And they're saying in their minds, "Fucking idiot."
Yes, and I picked idiot because that was the general term in film. It's horrible, but it's true. Every film, whatever, who's this idiot? Did you hire this idiot? This idiot just screwed up. Never hire that guy again. And these were people from film school that walk in that think they're Tarantino, think they're Scorsese, and they end up screwing up majorly and then don't get hired. And I had the ALMs tell me I don't hire people from film school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Because they think they're hot shit.
There was the stigma of saying is when you're on a set, I think when I ask people, what is it? Don't brag to people you went to film school. If somebody asks you if you went to film school, then you can say about it. But try to just don't
brag about it. Yeah.
Don't brag about it. I went to this school. I did 1 year of this. I did 2 short films here. Who gives a shit? Because I actually told this one kid, I told this one guy, is everything you learned at film school, that's great. Fucking throw that shit out the window. And then he would tell me that, oh, well, some stuff is good. Well, I'm like, okay, I know some stuff is good, but you really got to experience it yourself.
Yeah.
Like this guy, this one guy, he taught me how to set up a C-stand. And then I went on Smallville and seasoned that, and I looked like a fucking idiot. Because I set up a C-stand. Okay, for those who don't know, are your listeners like film people and non-film people, or?
Mostly film people, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, just if you don't know what a film C-stand is, but you probably do, it's just like a big stick with like one arm. So it's like a tripod, whatever. So I was setting this thing up on my shoulder because that's what I learned in film school. And then I was setting it up. And then this one guy said, he was super cool about it. He's like, hey, man, so where'd you learn that? And I said film school. And he's like, let me show you. So the reason why we don't do like that, as soon as you're holding a C-stand, it's like, I don't know, 2 feet, probably 3 or 4 feet, whatever. As soon as you turn, you're going to knock someone in the head with that thing.
Right.
It's like imagine holding a tripod on your shoulder. That's stupid.
And there's 3 feet behind you.
Yeah, it's actually longer than a tripod too. So he's like, if you do that, you're going to hit somebody. And what was this guy? Jay Dryden. Do you remember Jay Dryden? He's a grip, awesome dude. But he taught me how to set up a C-stand properly. Was hold it up and use your leg as part of it. And I remember when I did that, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but it made sense. So I'm standing here. The stick's going to be going vertical. I'm not going to hit nobody.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I did that, oh, man, literally a year later, I was a pro at setting that C-stand. I could set – okay, so when I was working on Arrow, I'm working with Johnny O. Johnny O, he was actually my first my second – he was a Smallville key grip. And right now he's the Arrow key grip. But working with him even in Smallville, it was always like, here, give me that, hurry up. So you were trained to go really fast on his sets, right? Great key grip, great dude. But I was trained to basically power walk and set up my C-stand at the same time with the sandbag over.
There you.
Over
so you
shoulder.
had, you practiced and and then
well,
got it down.
if you're not fast enough, you're getting yelled at.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what it is. Where film is very cutthroat. You're not doing it. You're not fast enough. Well, I'll get someone who is fast enough.
That's true. If
you don't come back tomorrow, I'll get someone else. Like, wow, that was the first time I experienced that cutthroat mentality and work thing. Like, the better people get the better jobs.
It's true, yeah.
And I appreciate it, even though like, I screwed up, but when I got better jobs. And then I started getting show calls on Arrow or Supernatural or whatever, and I didn't go to film school. I'm just conscientious and worked hard.
Yeah.
And if you do that, people take a notice, especially, I don't have to worry about it. I trust Mike. I can just leave it in his hands. He'll take care of that shit.
That's true.
He'll clean up the lunchroom or whatever it is, even if it's a small little detail. It has nothing to do with film. It's more about the relationships you have with people who will you can rely on.
And it's not just like your skill level. It's too, as this one guy told me is, he made a joke about it, which actually makes sense. He's like, I'll hire a guy if I can stand him for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Because that makes sense too, is we got to have like obviously your skill, right? But also it's like your skill, your attitude, and just the energy that you have too. I guess attitude falls into it. So it's kind of like attitude and skill. If you got those two things, you're golden. Because we've had people that are really good grips, but then in some shows and some days they're just an asshole or their attitude's poor.
Yeah.
Right? Like even the jaded people. Like we've had people like 20 years of experience. They may know a lot, but if they weren't a team player, if they're always sour, grumpy and shit, we don't want that. Like we'd rather have, we'll get young guys. Because I remember when I was first starting out gripping. To go on that story is I was a PA for about 3 months and then I got into gripping. Actually, my first grip show, Steven Seagal's show.
Oh, wow.
True Justice.
I knew someone who PA'd on that.
Oh, who?
Ray Clark.
No, I don't know him.
It was a girl.
Oh. I know like there was
redhead girl. And they were at Riverview. But anyway.
No, I don't know.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. He filmed here a lot.
Ooh, Seagal?
Yeah.
Yeah, his shows are really interesting. I don't want to say too much about it, but we had some good times. And I was just in the middle of, because I just finished PAing off of Fairly Odd Parents. Oh, here's a funny thing. After Smallville Season 9 as PAing, I wanted to get on set so fast. So guess what I did? I would draw a comic book of myself PAing. So I had 1 page of me, like picking up garbage, sweeping, all that shit. And it said, Milton NG, production assistant, ready to work. And I sent that out to every TV show, MOW, Future, whatever was on dgcbc.ca.
Okay.
/production list.
Yeah.
I would send it out to every single one. And I'm not talking about just email. I did email, fax. Remember fax? Do they still have fax?
Yeah. They still have a fax number actually on there, but I don't think anyone faxes anymore.
Yeah, no one faxes.
It's just...
But I did email, fax, mail.
Oh, yeah.
So
I would go into the production office.
Oh, that's ballsy. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I had once I had this, I had met a couple people, and that Ray Clark that I told about, she basically got me to PA because she double booked. And she was like, hey, you want to PA? And I'd only done 3 days of background. I didn't know about film. And I was like, okay. And she explained what it was, and I went and did it, and same kind of thing. And it didn't matter. I was just a body on it was a wrap day, and I just stood in one place for something like 12 hours. And on my first day, and it was like, okay, stand outside this door for 12 hours, and...
Did you get a headset? A McDonald's headset? Did you get one?
No.
Oh, you get radio?
I didn't get anything because it was a wrap day.
Oh, it was a wrap day.
Yeah, and it said there was no food.
Oh, God, that's terrible day.
And they're like, and it was raining and cold, And I didn't dress properly the first day, and it was like,
never dressed properly.
My shoes, everything. The next day,
rain gear. Like, you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah,
rain gear.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember when they told me to get rain gear, I just put a jacket on. That's a mistake. That was a mistake. Rain gear means like. Well, rain gear now is like a $600 rain jacket. Arc'teryx.
Oh yeah.
You want to get like Gore-Tex boots and gloves.
For me, because I was PA, I couldn't afford the Arc'teryx, so I went and got. I went to Mark's Work Warehouse and looked up all their kind of stuff. I did the Viking, and then I did. There's a whole bunch of different things, but Viking was more. It was too made you sweat. It was too rubbery.
Yeah.
Right. I went through a bunch of different ones, but you have to be covered head to toe.
Yeah.
In rain gear, it doesn't matter what it is.
I was exactly like you. I never hit the Arc'teryx thing till probably just the last 2 seasons of Arrow.
Exactly.
But yeah, I would buy just like my cheap $40 one, and then I upgrade to like $100 one. But yeah, I didn't have any fancy rain gear till you got. It's like literally your whole paycheck. Actually, if you're a PA, do you remember when it was $164 a day?
When I started, it was $151.
Oh shit! When did you start?
Or $152. It was the very last X-File movie.
Oh,
that was 2006.
2006. That's when I graduated high school.
Yeah,
that was 2010.
It was about that 2006, 2005, 2006, something like that. Back then, maybe 2005. But no, it was 2006. But that was 152 or something, and then it went up to. I remember when I went up to 160
164, and then it jumped to like 210,
and now it jumped again.
What's it now for the kids?
240.
Wow, you guys are fucking living
something like that. 250, 240 a day.
Nuts.
Like I literally, my friend is a PA, and she said her check is just over $1,000
for 5 days. That's
and
not bad.
That is $4,000 a month. No working overtime. That's crazy.
That's not bad, actually.
That is more than people I know that have worked at a job or in the real world.
Oh, I'm sure there's people that have went to school, college, and worked. But at the end of the day, you're trading your time,
and you're not standing in the same place for 15 hours.
Yeah, it's
you're sacrificing your body.
You're sacrificing your body and time. It's the time thing. And if we go back onto say Golden Handcuffs, that was a big deal breaker. Should I tell how I quit? Are we there yet?
Oh, yeah.
Or am I jumping to...
We went through school. We went through... Oh, yeah, I may as well. And then we'll go into indie stuff. Yeah. We're basically, I just wanted to cover your professional film industry kind of work before the independent. Because a lot of the people that I'm getting do both. They work lots in their regular day job usually is on the film. You've quit now. So how did you decided... I remember you telling me the story about... was it the Golden Handcuffs? And the guy was saying that he was the guy who wouldn't do it. He was a filmmaker, but
So that's where we're at. So in the whole midst of like the 7 years of gripping, I did. There's a bunch of shows. There's day calls, like because once I get into the unit, what's funny? Well, here's something really funny. I was an 891 member, and I've never accepted an 891 dispatch. Ever.
Wow.
And it's not like I'm not trying to brag or egotistical, but I think
look at me.
I think it's when you're getting in because when the first few years of me gripping, every grip out of me, I just get their contact number. And build rapport because it's all about building relationships. I'll get along with this person, if I didn't get along with that person. But it's also attitude and also the talent because people would see I was a very keener. Back then I was able to carry 3 sandbags on each arm and each bag is 15 pounds. So I was like hauling ass 90 pounds every time. I was just like, yeah, look at me. I'm
strong young buck.
Holy shit, man. As through the years progressed, I was just like, well, why am I working so hard? It just doesn't make any sense. I need to distribute the weight so I can contain my energy. So I would go from 90 pounds of 6 bags to 4 bags and even 60 pounds on each. Man, I'm just talking about that. I can feel that, man. Damn. But
that's how your arms got so long?
Yeah, that's how my lungs. No, I started doing CrossFit this year.
Nice.
Good little fit. But yeah, I was doing gripping for a good 7 years, I would say. The last show I did was Arrow. Wow, it was a great show. It was great. Like, people were great on that, Even
I was season 2 and 3.
Season 2 and 3. Okay, so when I came in season 2, I was just a day call.
Okay.
Like I did like 2 or 3 days. I came in middle of season 2.
It was season 3 I met you actually, I think.
Yeah, because I was very little in season 2. And then season 3, I think I was more full time, but I was doing because I remember when I was doing season 2, I was like dabbling with 2 other shows. I was on Supernatural and then I was this. And then John Spasoff kept on wanting me to come on this show. He's like, hey, you should make this show your show. He's like, fuck that other show, right? But he was good because he knew what I want. Actually, John Spasoff and Johnny O off of Arrow, I'm going to always thank those guys because they were great bosses. They knew what I wanted to do. So they would always encourage me to go and shoot my movies. And if I needed to borrow any gear, go for it, you know?
Oh, and they give you the break, like the day off if you needed it or something? Or?
Yeah, most of it. Like, because I wasn't doing full time even on season 3 because I told them straight up, like, I need time to focus on my
So
stuff.
Mostly location stuff or studio stuff?
No, it was mixed. It was always
mixed. Okay.
You know how Arrow was. It was like
yeah.
sometimes studio, sometimes that. There was some funny moments where it's like somehow just the way they schedule. They're like, hey, how come Milton always gets to come in on studio days? Like, what the fuck's up with that? Like, why is he playing favorites? But I guess like I'm not trying to be egotistical with gripping because there's a lot of great grips out there, and I will always, because I was in that department, I will always have another, because I have a respect for grip and PAs because I lived through it. I've seen the ins and outs. I've seen the shittiest times. I've seen the greatest times. It's great. But season 3 I was doing like probably 4 days a week, 3 or 4 days, and then season 4. But like as every year I was on Arrow, I kept on telling myself there's always this answer inside of me that says, yo, you don't want to grip, you know, because
it's just a job. Yeah,
it's
just
was
a
a
paycheck.
job, and you know, you would network, blah blah blah, and people were great. Paycheck was good. But like those dark moments was when you're holding when you're standing in a combi stand, it's raining, you have a 12 by rain cover, and sometimes actually a lot of times the key grip will be like, hey, I need 2 guys on this and stand by it. So you're standing by this combi stand with another guy, and it's like freaking 3 a.m. and it's just cold, man. Like it's water's dripping through your neck.
Sounds like PA
your
stories
shoes,
too.
through your gloves, and it really makes you wonder, like, what am I doing? Because you think about the excitement of why he took that leap. Like I'm thinking back in Alberta, man, that dream chaser. He was like, he's gonna go to film school. He's gonna make all these movies because a lot of people going to film school, they have ambition. Like I would imagine, or I would think that people that go to film school have this dream to make movies rather than work in movies.
This is when I did my second thing, when I filmed my second independent that was like a professional thing where I actually put it through UBCP and everything.
Oh, nice.
And give credits and all that. Anyway, while I was doing it, my set deck guy said, I went to film school. That was my dream on this topic. That was his thing. He wrote a script. He did the whole thing. And then he got in set deck. Then he got married and had a kid. And then he said, you're living my dream, dude. He goes, you know, he stopped doing it 5 years ago and he's been doing set deck the whole time.
Oh, man.
And that was the golden handcuffs. It took over his life, and then he got married and had a kid and had all these other responsibilities. And well, then you can't.
Yeah, you can't. Like, it's just hearing that. It's sad, and it's funny you say that. How he said, "I wish I had your life." He said that, right?
He said, "You're living my dream."
Yeah, I just had a conversation with my friend. He's an actor, and he met his high school buddy or university buddy, and he had a kid. And then as the actor was leaving, he would say, "Oh, I wish I had your life." Because you're only carrying one luggage. And it brings to that point of what you're doing, what we're doing should not have this effect on other people, whether it's your friends or family or just colleagues. It should have an effect of, okay, this person's going out to do their film. You should take that as an inspiration to go, if this person can do it, I can do it, right?
Right.
And to go back on like the person who went to film school, wrote a script and everything, it is kind of sad, but it's when I meet people like that, I always try to push them, like I said before, about what are you working on? What script are you working on? Because the story with me is when I was gripping for 7 years, first 3 years, I was doing projects on the side.
And one right after the other.
Yeah. I was.
And if one didn't work, you were on to another one.
I was on to another one.
That's the same as me. Tons of productions. It's one after another after another.
You have to keep going.
You have to not have one idea and write it out and say, oh, I wrote this script 6 years ago and I'm still trying to pitch it.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Unless you're James Cameron and does Avatar for like, he waited after
he
Terminator
waited.
Or Titanic. Was it Titanic? I don't know. He did like 20 years, but hey, that was worth it. But he's already established himself as a director back then. But it goes to that moment of whatever we want in life, it's going to be something greater than what we think we can achieve. And when we're going into that first door, many of us, I would say, has that fire, that energy, that courage to really open that door with like guns blazing. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is we need to have that same firepower, if not more, if we hit the 10th door, the 50th, 100th, 200th door.
And don't expect your first project to be knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
Learn as you go.
Exactly. Yeah, I've actually, was it one of my shorts I did right after? Yeah, it's funny. One of my shorts I did after film school, I think I put $3,500 into it, and I thought this was my launch card. I thought this film was going to be
J.J. Abrams.
It was called Lemons and Lemonade. It was about kids selling lemonade, and I just thought it was going to be it, but actually a few film festival runs, it just didn't hit, and you feel crushed for a little bit, but I think if you fast forward. Oh man, I'm getting so off topic, bro.
I know.
It's great though. But let's go back to I did gripping, blah blah blah, and I was always doing my own projects. And when I was on season 4 of Arrow, I was telling, I think it was John Spasoff or Bud Legree. There's another Best Boy that came on, but I was telling him, hey, I got to do 3 days a week, and then I need more time to do my projects, which they understood. And then season 5, this is crazy. Because every season I was like. I think it was season 3. I finished it. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna focus just on my shit. I'm just gonna stop gripping. And then it was Deadpool. Deadpool was shot here, and I was like, oh man, I want to work.
I gotta be on Deadpool.
I gotta be on Deadpool.
So 90 PAs one day. I worked at Parallel at the time.
90 PAs in one day.
90.
Wow, I thought.
Wow,
I
that's
thought
the most I've ever heard.
I thought when I did Mission Impossible, I did one day in Mission Impossible. I don't know which one it was, downtown, and there was like 50, and I thought that was a lot.
Yeah, I had 50 on or 52 on the day the Earth stood still, and I thought that I was like, what?
Oh my god!
Because these TV shows we do, there's 10 PAs, maybe 8.
Well, 20 is sometimes if it's like outside, like downtown.
If we're exterior and we're on location, yeah. But if in the studio, there's 8 or 6.
There's small. You don't need that many there. What was I?
Anyway, yeah.
Where was I? It's getting hot in here. We can't drink water in here. We have to go outside and drink water. So we're losing our heads here. But I want to finish this story at least.
So you're telling the story about how you quit gripping.
Oh, okay. So yeah, season 4. I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this season, do 3-4 days a week, and I'm gonna quit gripping. And then Power Rangers came. Here.
Oh no, yeah, it was Deadpool. That's what you're saying.
It was Deadpool first, or I don't know how the order is, but it was Deadpool first, and then there's Power Rangers, and then Power Rangers came on. One of my grip buddies called me and said, "Hey, we need a grip," and it's like a month left, and then blah blah blah, and I was like, "Shit, man, I love that show. I grew up watching that show." So then I went on that show,
you're like, okay,
and I gripped the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But I think I only did like 3 weeks in that show. But yeah, I did like 3 weeks in that show, and then season 5 came in, and I'm like, what am I doing? Am I really saying yes to another full season of Arrow? But then I just told him, I was like, okay, finances, blah, blah, blah. I had some pillow savings. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do 2 to 3. And then it got to like halfway of the season, and I was like telling Bud, the best boy at the time, I was like, I'm only going to do 2 days a week. That's it. And that was very funny because people were like, yo, we need you on this day. I'm like, no, I got to work on my shit. I was very put my foot. And I remember that last season, and maybe in the season before, I would actually bring my iPad or my books, like script writing books, like Save the Cat, great book. I would read that on set. Like, you can only talk to people on set for a good amount of time. Like,
right.
You can't talk to the same people.
Well, some people could talk all day, but I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't do it because I was like, we did a lighting setup. There's 20 minutes for me to spare. I'd fuck off. Get my iPad, get my brain. I have to do something because here's something I'll tell you that really sparked this. This is what really sparked it. Is there is this guy on season 3 of Arrow. Do you remember Carl Yoon, like the Asian guy? Remember they had the Asian flashbacks, like the Japan or some shit.
No, I don't remember.
Okay, well he was an actor, and I remember meeting him. Had good talks. He knew I was a filmmaker, and then he invited. He
was with an actor.
He's an actor.
Oh. Then
an Asian actor.
Yeah, now I remember.
Right. Yeah, the sword and everything.
If it was crew, I don't remember, but actors, I could
So he was an actor. I got along with him, and I told him I was a filmmaker. He sent me his scripts, read his script. I didn't know what he was thinking of him sending me the script. I was like,
you're going to produce his stuff?
I was like, I had to think like that because I'm like, well, he knows I'm a filmmaker, and he just sent me his feature-length script. So Mike, what does this mean? So I read the script, and I'm not just trying to freaking yank his noodle here. I love the script. The script was great.
It was really good writing.
It was a great story. And we met up at his hotel. Don't worry, nothing sexual.
Late at night showering. No.
No late night shower. And we just talked about some shit. And there was these two important questions that he asked. And I always tell people when I have these conversations or podcasts, he says, first question, he said, "Are you fulfilled?" I had to really think about that. Are you fulfilled? And I said, no, because I'm doing something that I don't want to do.
Right.
Right. And he's like, well, why aren't you fulfilled? Like, how can you do it? And then I basically said, well, I do it after work, blah, blah, blah. And then the second question was, are you exhausted? Ooh, that's a tough question. And in my mind, I'm like, is this guy testing me?
Yeah.
He's got to be testing me. What the fuck? And then I say, no, I'm not exhausted because when I come home, I still have energy to work on my shit. So then after I left that, I left the hotel room, not knowing what to feel. I ended up writing a director's statement on his script on why I should direct it or how I would do it. And I thought it was okay, or I don't know. At the time, I was so high on myself, I guess. And I said to him, I didn't get anything back. And I realized that meeting was a test to see if I was ready for it. And I failed in his eyes.
Right.
Which is fine. I'm totally fine with it. Over it. The question is, when someone says, are you exhausted? And you say no, that means you're not going all in on what you love.
Right.
I found that out literally a year after. And then the whole part of are you fulfilled is, I think, actually, before we left, he said, you got to be fearless. Because we talked about EI. He's like, if you can live off like $1,800 a month, you should do it. Be fearless, man. You just got to go in there. So he gave me this advice, and that advice has been tricking with me or in my head for like season 4 and then season 5. And then when season 5 hit, I was like, I got to do it. This voice kept on telling me, this is not what you want to do. What do you want to do? You want to tell stories. You want to act your own videos. You want to keep creating. And this voice just got louder to the point when there was only three weeks left of Arrow, I called it quit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a very, I actually made a video on it, and I kept on thinking about it. I kept on talking to the best boy, but there was this moment, I was actually driving on my way to work, and I recorded myself doing it, like, so this is the day I'm going to quit my job, and I just got to do it. I just recorded it just for this.
And this is like, for people to understand, you quitting Arrow is really hard. It's a paycheck for one.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
also a superhero TV show that you obviously really like to be a part of, and you work with really cool people. So it wasn't easy to make this decision.
No, it was, oh man, it was so tough. I don't even know if I went to the wrap party because I felt like, I was like, there was a part of me that wanted to stay and finish the season.
Right.
But as the days got on, there was this festival that I signed up for back in Banff, and I needed time to write this future script. And every time I was at work, and it's hard when this happens all the time. I think one of the biggest thing was I was able to see people like acting and directing and producing. I wouldn't say it was like jealous or a little envious, I guess that's the word, but I was seeing people do what they love to do, and I was just like,
that's what I love to do.
Yeah, and I was just like, why am I not doing it? And then I'm like, well, it's because I'm working here. I'm like, why don't I just go and do it? So I saved like, I don't know, I saved like 15,000 or something, and I just went and did it. And what's the hardest thing is actually trying to do it after, because it's like, how you gonna make a living off that?
Right.
Like, that's the biggest thing. Like my parents or my dad would always say that. So a year after, I would literally refuse every call.
Yeah, that was just hard.
It was so hard.
I was getting calls for 2 years. It was hard for me to quit too. And Arrow was my last show.
Oh shit!
I ended up getting married.
Oh, there you go.
And I saw how many relationships were ruined by working in film like that. And I had done over 10 years as a production in locations. And I was like, and I knew all the people at Parallel who did location equipment. I knew them well from doing my indies. They always helped me out and like either a cheap deal or free sometimes, depending, and give me a lot of stuff. So I knew them well, and I went in and said, I need a job. This is what I'm doing. Boom, 8-hour job.
Nice.
It wasn't near the money I made in film, but it didn't save my relationship. I decided this is important to me.
How long did you work there for? At Parallel?
Until I got sick in 2016. I got multiple sclerosis.
Oh, shit.
And that's why I'm doing this.
You wrote that in your website, I remember.
And my book donates towards it. And then once this podcast gets sponsors, I'm going to be donating some money towards that too as well.
It's very good.
But I'm like you in the sense that I can't sit on my hands. I can't sit there and do nothing. And even though I have sick days and some days I've canceled, I've only canceled probably 3 times for interviews since I've started.
For what type of interviews? Like
for doing this podcast or whatever. Because you're the 5th or 6th person.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm the 5th. Okay.
I know.
Milton the 5th.
Something like that. But it was something I can do, and it's like literally 2 stops on the SkyTrain, and we sit in a booth and talk. It's not like a lot of hard work, right?
No,
so
I think your hard work is going to come in the editing.
Yeah, and even then, it's at home, and I just sit there and click away. It's not really,
That's true. It's not physically
It's not physically demanding, and it allows me, because that's why I pre-record the interviews, because it allows me that time. Because if I do get sick, I can be laid up for a week, and I can't do it.
That's true.
So anyway, nothing about me. But Arrow was the last thing, and it was the same thing. But that was season 3, and you went to season 7. You said
5.
Oh, 5.
Yeah, I think they're shooting. Are they shooting that? I don't even know where they're at. I don't know where they're at right now. But
they got picked up. All the CWs in Vancouver, I noticed, got picked up. Supernatural's
on 15th season. That's insane.
15. I'm going to get some of those guys in here, too, because I was there 2 years.
Oh, there you go. Do it up. That's insane just how that works. But yeah, it was season 5 ended that. And yeah, I think the grind, I was doing a partnership with a buddy on like YouTube videos and action stuff. And we get the odd gig here and there. And then we do I would find some corporate gig, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't like you don't really understand the gung-ho, or sorry, is that the term for it? You don't really understand pursuing your dream when your back is against the wall, like literally. Because when you have that cushion, because I was fresh out, like $15,000, I would work on my stuff, and I would consider I was working on my stuff hard, but not as hard as I guess the last year. Because when I was working, when you have money in the bank, you're not as hungry.
No, and you got to be hungry.
You got to be hungry. So, just last year, I made a video. I was gonna make a video a week. It was very hard to do a video a week. It's just YouTube because you're not making any money off that. But last year, it was I was like, shit. I've been in film. I've been in Vancouver for 10 years. What the fuck am I doing? And it really hit me. I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta do something greater. I can't just make these little YouTube videos. I gotta make it the next level. So without even knowing, or kind of knowing, is I made a couple YouTube videos, and it kind of just transpired to become this web series that we're just developing the shit out of it. It's called Followers.
Oh yeah. I watched probably about 4 of them and laughed out loud.
You gotta watch it from the beginning. You gotta watch it from episode 1.
That's what I did.
Because there's huge there's an arc, because we shot that web series. It's, in a nutshell, its logline of that is a group of superheroes inspired by social media must collaborate together to take down a hater who threatens to destroy the internet. So you can check it out at followerswebseries.com. There's a plug. followerswebseries.com.
Followers Web Series. That's awesome.
And it just leads to my YouTube channel. But we shot that thing out of order, and I've done short films and stuff where I spent a few thousand, $5,000. I did this one where I spent $10,000 beforehand. This is
$10,000 is my ceiling so far.
$10,000. Okay, I shot this short for $10,000 is just too much. I mean, there's a lot of short films I've seen out there that are great, and people spend $15,000, $20,000. But I think this is very important in the indie world, is what can you actually afford to spend?
Right.
Yeah. What can you afford to spend? What won't kill you? Now, because I spent $10,000 on this short film. The end product, it was a great story. Got into 7 festivals. But of course, when you're at the moment, when you're shooting something, there's that mindset okay, this is my calling card. This is it. This is going to launch me to the next step. This film did not launch me to where I wanted. But because I was creating, basically I did this short film called Next Like. It was based on this guy who gets heartbroken. And then his brother shows him that there's tons of other social media girls in the sea. So he's explaining there's a Insta girl, there's a YouTube girl, Twitter girl, blah, blah, blah. And I got the idea for the Followers when I was researching that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Did you know what's really exciting about researching social media? Did you know Facebook, they are running so many generators right now to keep that online 24/7.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's
a massive thing. I have a cousin that works for Facebook.
Oh shit, bring him in.
And he lives in LA. I don't know.
Bring him in. But yeah, to go back on the followers is we shot this web series so out of order. Holy crap! We shot episode 2 first.
Okay,
which was called
that makes sense.
Which was called If YouTube Was a Superhero, and it was supposed to be the pilot. That was the intention. But we shot episode 2, then we shot If Facebook Was a Superhero, and then there was this Kevin Hart's comedy contest that came out, and I was like, oh man, I want to enter that. I can enter it with this show. So I ended up shooting the finale.
Oh wow!
Next. So when we shot the finale next, we didn't get into the festival, but I kept that film literally in my hard drive for a good 4 or 5 months, maybe 6. So, and I was looking at, so we did episode 2. So there's 11 episodes, right? We shot episode 2, 3. We did 11, and then I was like, I can't have that one as my pilot because this one, it doesn't explain enough. Right. So I I wrote a pilot and then shot the pilot.
So it's like a prequel to the original pilot.
So I just called this the pilot. I just renamed the episodes, right? So now I had episode 1, 2, and then I did 3, 4, 5, and I think I did 6. And then when I did 6, this is like if Twitter was a superhero, if Instagram, Snapchat, blah, blah, blah. And when I did 6, there was another contest that came out. It's called Mighty Asian Movie Making Marathon, hosted by VAF, Vancouver Asian Film Festival, and you get you get theatrical screening, blah blah blah. So when that came out, I was like, oh, I gotta fucking hit that.
Yeah.
So we shot episode 10 for that. So we shot episode 10, which was like a month. It was so cool. We got so many people. We ended up getting North Shore Studios. It was amazing.
Nice, yeah.
Our whole team really
I could tell in the shots.
It was insane. Like it was just we shot it, we edited, blah blah blah. We got in. I got an Audience Choice Award for acting.
Good for you. Wow.
That was pretty dope. I didn't expect that at all. I was aiming for the other award, but whatever. So after we shot episode 10, now I had episode 10 and 11 in the camp. I couldn't release it. Then we went back, and then I shot episode 7, 8, and 9. And then once those were out, we released those. We had a screening, blah, blah, blah. And then the finale episode, it was like 5 minutes, right? I couldn't just end it like that. I need to shoot another bit, like another 3-4 minute bit on top of that to make it like an actual...
to wrap it out.
So we did that, and then literally right now... I think it's just like 4 weeks ago, or I think before the new year, that's when we released the finale episode.
So it's right new, yeah.
Yeah, and what's funny about the series is I'm just editing the trailer now. Usually,
that's hilarious.
Mike, usually the trailer happens before, but
yeah.
It's crazy. I've been to so many, I've been to a couple meetings about this show. I met some people that wanted to see something, and there's this one guy who had really good connections, and he wanted to meet up, but I wasn't ready to show him anything. I wasn't going to show him an episode. I wanted to cut a trailer, but I'm glad that now I have the trailer. I'll have it done by tonight, hopefully. I can actually start pushing, I guess, with it. But yeah, it's totally out of order, but it was a great series to work on. We're actually developing a feature now based on that same story.
Yeah, is that the one that's the Aaron fights everybody?
No.
Oh,
that's my buddy's.
Because you're producing.
Shit. That was the guy, Mike Lee, my friend, who was the Facebook man.
Okay.
He actually made a web series, so he did a pilot. So I helped him produce that.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's what that was. So what's this feature called?
It's going to be the Followers feature.
Okay.
So it's just there was so John Nendo. A shout out to John Nendo, my homie out there. He was with me since the very beginning of this development of this web series, and he's a producer, and we were back and forth talking about the show, discussing strategies, what direction. I was originally going to take it to a second season and just have it fully funded. Because when I did this season, it was just we literally shot this for under $7,000.
It was on a shoestring, yeah.
That was
your guerrilla shooting.
This was
running gun.
This was volunteers coming in, a lot of passionate people coming in, like this.
Working for free, maybe, or credit.
Yeah. Well, credit. Some people got honorariums, kind of very small kind of thing.
Yeah.
We if a camera guy, Christopher Cho, he's coming with this whole entire camera package, blah blah blah. Throw him $100 kind of thing.
Right.
So, but it was very minimal cost because literally it was through my credit line.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Kind of thing. So, but this so much I learned just from doing a short film 5 years ago for $10,000. I don't even know how I spent that. Versus 5 years later, we've made an entire web series of up to 80 minutes running time. The whole
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
For under $7,000, and that's with film festival submissions. I mean, I got to finish the trailer and then push it out marketing wise, but the comparison of just the drastic growth of being smarter with money and how to make
Right. Working a budget to stretching it to the very limit. And that's what I learned.
Yeah.
The very first thing I threw away money. My very first thing I filmed, it was only a 5-minute little thing, but it cost me about $2,500.
Oh shit.
And I was like, oh wow. And I could have saved money down the road when I did other ones, but the same thing. It could stretch out the thing. So my next one only cost me, I think, $1,500. I dropped it at $1,000, and that was getting a lot of favors from people in different places, parallel.
Nice.
Yeah. And
did you shoot it already?
Oh yeah, no. This was years ago. This was my second independent that I did. It was like a little short, and I put it in all film festivals and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And that would have been 2007, 2008, a long time ago.
Was that your last film?
No.
Okay, good.
No. The last there was that pilot I told you about that I did a pilot, and that was 2010. I've only ever helped out other people on their indies, and then yeah, life happened, and I just never went back to it. I guess to do my own independence.
But you want to?
Oh yeah, well that was the whole point of the book and doing this and doing whatever is hopefully I can raise enough money because I got a pile of scripts obviously that I've written, but writing is my thing now.
Oh, there you go.
I've gotten right into concentrating on writing and developing in that way. And
Nice.
I think I'd rather be a writer because of my sickness as well. I can't work on set.
Oh, okay. You
I
can't stand very long at a.
I can't stand for very long. My right hand doesn't work that well. I get a bunch of things wrong with me. I get major cramping and problems in my muscles, and I got severe vertigo. So vertigo is dizziness, which it's like seasickness, but it's like times 100 when it hits hard. And that's why I'm laid up for a week. I can't do anything. I can't drive anymore. I had to give up my license. I couldn't drive anymore.
Oh, damn.
So that affected my life in that way, but hey, I know lots of great people in film, and this is just another thing that I can do that brings everybody together. I really wanted the film industry in Vancouver to be like a family because how many people know each other and work together and whatever? And, oh, yeah, I worked with that guy 8 years ago on this show for 3 years or something.
That's true.
And it seems to be, I don't know, an industry that is like almost half of BC. Like it's humongous. I don't know if it's that much, but I mean, how many people work in the film industry? It's insane. Or on the outskirts, rent to the film industry, or people have a warehouse and they just let it out as a stage or whatever.
Yeah, the film business here in the industry is huge. We're very tight. We once you're in it, like for a few years, you start to know like people. Oh, I know this guy. Oh, I know this guy. Oh, hey, it's like a reunion every time, right? There's always there's always people coming and going. Like there's always people trying to get out. There's always people trying to get in, kind of thing. And I think just the whole podcasting is a great way to bring in people. Like there's obviously a few other podcasts here, but I'm sure you'll get more people down the road.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
Well, right now I have 200 plus on Facebook friends.
Oh, just in film.
Just from film, because I did it for 12 years. I've got so many friends, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm going through all these different people who do independent and do something else on the side. My last interview was an actor, but he does independent on the side, and he wears the producer hat and director and
nice.
same
Good
sort
for
of
him.
thing.
What's his name?
Troy Bundle, and really good guy. I met him on Stargate, and he sat down with me actually. Called me up one time. This is after I left Stargate and asked me about it because he knew I did independent filming. And he wanted to know about this, wanted that. He'd never gotten in that world. He didn't know anything about it.
That's good. Like the whole indie world is like a whole
That's
realm
a
of its
family.
own. And it's it's the hunger of like creators. Like I was around my show, I was wearing like 5 hats. Like I was designing I was designing the costumes, like I was going to Sport Check, I was going to soccer places, buying all these things to make it. And then there's like the writing process, like the budgeting, all of that. Like it was crazy. Like my house, I have all my costumes and Rubbermaids and shit.
Or how many times you're on the phone for 6 hours calling people, call this person, that person, this person, that
Oh,
person.
yes.
They got to call you back. And
Yeah, it's when you're doing indies, you're used to wearing a lot of hats, and then especially when you're not paying people, you almost have to do those tasks.
and you lose your fear. This is the other thing. When I did for indie, I found out that I lost my fear to ask if I could use the location to film in. I will walk into any place and go, "Hey, man."
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and I'll talk to any person, and that helped me out in the PA job.
Oh yeah, because like downtown, you had
I got me office. They right away was like, "You have no fear." when it comes to talking to people. Like, because the first day was on Supernatural, actually, before I moved in the office. They said, oh, we need that driveway. We need to put a Jenny in their driveway. And can you go up and ask it? They were testing me. Can you go up and ask the owners of the house if we can use their driveway? And your ceiling is $300.
You only have $300.
You have $300. You can get it if you can get it cheaper, great. But $300 is the limit, right? And we want that driveway, fine. And then I came back and I go, it'll cost you $50. And they're like, what? And you can leave it there overnight. And they're like, what? You were gone for 2 minutes, like. And I go, oh yeah, well, whatever. And like, I never realized that they thought it was a skill. They were like, oh, that's something that not everyone can do. But Indy is the reason that I had that, I think.
Oh,
I get an outgoing personality, but I mean, when it came down to actual film stuff, I was like, oh, well, I've already done this in indie world. I've already walked around and asked people, strangers, do you mind if I give you a gift card for $20? And then I can use your backyard, kind of thing, or
getting it for $50 obviously made the ALM happy.
Oh, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. And then how many times we do after that? I ended up getting the office, and I ended up doing stuff like we're filming here, and we need to talk to these two houses and the one across the alley and one over here in this store or whatever. And he would give me a list of the people to talk to, and he goes, each one of them, this one. Is $400 is your ceiling for each one and whatever, and then I come back and say, oh, it'll cost you $200 for all of them. And he's like, what? Because they love me. I go up and I'd be really nice to them, and it would if that outgoing personality paid off in that regard.
The outgoing personality always pays off.
Yeah.
Unless the person is pissed off.
Right. Hates film. I've had that.
Yeah. I've had people that are just really pissed off, but that's not you. We'll never know what's going on because we don't know if someone, like, their dog died or something. They got dumped. We just don't know that. So sometimes you trying to egg on that energy, they just don't want a part of that. I've been in that situation. Actually, as energetic as I am, there have been some times where I'm on film set where I'm having a bad day, and I find it funny where someone will say, hey, Milton, what's wrong? I'm like, what, what's going on? And they're like, well, you don't seem like yourself. Oh, I'm good. I'm just tired.
You're in the weeds. You're like totally thinking of something.
Yeah, I'll have like some stress, like something with the house or something with this, some shit. It just we're all
or an actor canceled for your indie or whatever.
Oh yeah, I've seen that where you're like, okay, we're shooting in 2 days and our location just dropped. Like, we have that, and you're like,
we don't have a location.
So your mindset's just like you're walking, you're trying to grip or do a PA, and you're trying to find this location, and as you're doing work, all you want to do is hide in a corner and start searching with your phone.
Yeah,
because your other two producers are at work.
Right.
So I'm like,
or have you had producers that don't do anything? I've had that too. I go into they're big talkers. I'm a filmmaker. I'm this and I'm that, and then it's like, okay, let's do the whole stuff, and it's like, wait a second. So I do all the work and you do, very little. Like, here, make this prop. Like, can you do that?
That's true.
And they're like, oh, well, can I get executive credit status? Because I'm no, like, it's not even that. It's more about people bragging and their ego about how great they are without actually proving it and showing their ability and their skill.
Yeah, I find with producers, like my producers have been really good, but I have worked on other projects where I had producers who sometimes it's tough to work with producers that are either same skill or lower, like less experience.
Right.
I've had some shows where I worked with lesser experienced producers, and it actually you end up delegating more. I mean, sometimes delegation
you take charge.
Delegating is great, but sometimes when you're at the heat of the moment, because this one show I was directing and producing, and when you're doing directing, I forget which part of the brain, it's like the west or the eastern hemisphere they call it, but one brain is meant for like creation,
analytical,
like playing guitar, music. That's the creative part, and then the producing side is more the other side. I forget what side. I could be naming it
the
wrong,
budget and the
conscientious. So I was trying to be creative in this one short, and then I had a producer ask me what time lunch should be, what should we get for lunch. That's 2 questions right there.
Yeah.
Now I have to refocus and just think about that.
Stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
And pay attention to nonsense or something that's not important.
Those kind of things that you want to put trust in your co-producer or your producer.
Make that call. Yeah.
Make that call, man. Just or if you have a restaurant in mind or what to eat, go around, ask people, say, are you guys okay with sushi? Hey, okay with pizza? Are you lactose intolerant? Like, do that. And that's a lot. That's what I find with, like, sometimes producing is tough. But if you partner up with the right people,
yes, that I've done that too.
Then it's like, wow, it's gravy. Like the producers I got right now, that are helping me on this show we're doing the development phase, blah, blah, blah. One guy, Will and Lung out there, shout out to him. He just came out mid-season, and then Jonathan Doe that I already mentioned. We all got different skills. We all got different strengths and weaknesses. So we've kind of, what's that word called? Offset the balance to each other, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just jives Yeah, it just jives so well. And
nice.
It's never happened to me before. And when you're able to do this on a show, it moves like butter. And if there's an obstacle that we have to hit, we'll hit together.
And you want to do the next show with them.
Yeah. Well, we are. We're actually
there you go. Yeah, they're
the feature now.
Nice.
Of this. So
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What time is it? It's not 4:15 yet, right?
No. It's,
okay, good.
3:44.
Perfect.
Which I can cut out again.
Can I drink a quick water?
Yeah, we're gonna take a break.
Okay, yeah, cool. I'll go to the washroom too.
Yeah, we'll do that. Great. So what I wanted to talk to you about was before we wrap this up, I wanted to talk about the fighting. All your video, well, not all your videos, but a lot of your videos, the Towel Boy, a lot of these videos are like organizing a fight sequence over and over. And to me, I've never done that. It's always dialogue. It's never that kind of thing. So when you do that, take me through the thought process of that. Or do you have to, we've done already this, we have to do something else? Like, is it?
Well, I am very inspired by Jackie Chan, and I loved how he was able to use his environment to do these martial arts movement and everything. So for me, I don't have a stunt background. I've always just grew up freaking like fighting the air, just pretending to be a ninja, all that stuff. So I really love that kind of style. And I've taken some Wing Chun here and there, but not full on. But I guess my process is, we go into it and I just look at an area like that one Towel Boy we shot in a locker room. It was a men's locker room. So we had so many stuff to use there. And one of the scenes actually that you watched is the hot water. Oh, I love that scene.
Oh, yeah, when he ties her hand on there.
Yeah, that was a great. I was just writing this thing. I'm like, what can I use around the washroom? And it was basing it on an underdog. So my character is a Towel Boy, and his backstory, he's got cut from the team. And he's just stuck there.
And everyone's arrogant and like talking down to you.
Except he's loving his job. That's why he's like dancing and everything. So he's fighting this bully played by my friend Glenn that just disrespects me, and I just can't take enough of it. So I just basically throw a towel in his face. So the whole process of fighting in a locker room was I just look at stuff, and if I look at stuff that I can see it as a weapon, my mindset's going to ask me two things. Like, one, the first question is, have I seen it before? And two, how can I, it's not the word of making it ridiculous. Oh, sorry. It's not about making it funny. It's about making it as ridiculous as I can. I try to go as far as I can in whatever.
That's what the comedy in there
is.
That's because it's comedy fighting. It's like,
yeah. And it's
not serious.
It's
right?
not serious, but it's meant to make, because I think for me as a performer, I love to do the moves myself. And I know I can't do these crazy backflips. I know I can't do all these, what the stunt guys do. So I come in with comedy fighting. And this is what I did as a grip, too. I would just, like, fuck around. I'm holding C-stand. And I would just do shit like this. And I remember one of the guys would just say, yo, what is that? I'm like, I call it bung fu. Really bunk kung fu. And I would just play that. So I had so much fun doing that. So, yeah, one of the scenes was my character is in pain. And the bully takes my hand, ties it with a towel to the water, and then turns on hot water. And as I try to turn off the hot water, he puts soap on it, so my hands just slip off of it. So anything can be done. Like we're in a podcast right now, and there was one episode somewhere I used headphones, and my character would tape headphones to the guy's ear and then blast on like a shitty song. So then they can't get out. Like, they're really screwed, man. There's just so many ways. But, yeah, heavily inspired by Jackie Chan. And the next project we have coming up, I want to incorporate more of this style. It's just, I have a lot of fun just choreographing it.
That makes a lot of sense with the Jackie Chan. Because it's a lot of the stuff is totally using the environment. I never even thought about that. And that was going to every different corner of the locker room, using lockers, using the bathroom, toilets, using whatever. That one part where you hold up the towel.
Oh, yeah. Just some like urine juice in my face. That's what it was.
And you're all smiling.
I was like, it was just
water.
I
laughed out loud. You had some really good times.
Thank you. I tried to push that video. It's very tough. Hopefully I bring back Towel Boy. I had a lot of fun doing that. And then the stinky socks.
Remember
Because I planted the socks in the beginning. So you see it in the beginning, and then as I'm getting my ass kicked, I run to the socks, and you think that I'm grabbing the towel. But no, I'm grabbing stinky socks.
No, and the other one that I found really funny that I actually thought of in one of my indies before, but I never used, was when in the followers one where you are fighting that guy and he is beating you up, but he's reading a book.
Yo, yes, like, the hater,
and like electricity and throwing you around, but he's like, like totally not even paying attention to you.
So that episode, that idea was from T.O.P.P, my friend, who was a director of that episode. So,
okay.
Because the whole series had like 4 or 5 different directors.
Right.
So he came up with that part because we just choreographed a fight, and then we didn't have much time, so we're like, oh, how can we make this funny? He's like, oh, let's just have this guy read a book.
Yeah, do whatever. Yeah.
Hey, it worked. I was like, hey, I love it. Let's do it. Throw me around and. And that show, my favorite friend was an air mattress. We didn't have like stunt mats. So air mattresses. And air mattresses hurt, man. When you there's that one part I fall from the stairs.
Right.
Oh, and you see me bouncing back up. That's from the air mattress.
Wow.
Yeah, that was painful.
I bet. Yeah, because I was lucky enough. I worked at Bridge Studios and got to know Canada Stunts, and they had lent me crash pads.
Oh,
people that worked there let me crash pads for a couple of my shorts, and I felt so lucky. I felt
nice.
Oh my God, because we were on pavement, we were outside too. Yeah, and if you don't have anything,
crash pads are worth it. Like we had some stunt mats, like this other section, but I don't really compared to crash mats. I wouldn't consider them stunt mats. They're just like a yoga mat. Kind of with some foam.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you call that. A gymnast mat. That's nothing.
Yeah, like a little, that's like a blue one with that Velcro.
That's a call 911. This ain't going to save your life.
Well, the other thing I want to talk to you about was comedy. Because that was something that I really tried to do. I spent a couple of years trying to do stand-up because it was my thing. I thought, I sang in a band for years. So I don't really have fear when it comes to talking in front of people. And why not use that to my advantage, right? And I saw that you had done stand-up.
Yeah, I did it 3 times last year. No, 2 years the year before and 1 year last year. But we're in the midst of doing. John Nendo, my producer. We're gonna. Oh, my bad. That's the alarm. 4:24. We got 9 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, stand up is I've done it 3 times. Man, my first time doing it, holy shit, I was sweating balls. I went to 12 Kings Pub, and man, I signed myself up for number 6, and because there's so many other people coming in, they would literally bump me off. So every time I would hit record, I'm like, okay, I'm next. I'm like, I count the numbers. I'm next, and I didn't go on until I was like the 15th slot.
Oh yeah, no, that always happens. If you're new.
Yeah,
you're bumped.
If comedians come in that know the organizer or the MC, you're bumped. It's just the way.
Yeah, I'll sign up and like an open mic, and it'll be an hour. Oh, okay, I can do that, and then 3 hours go by.
Yeah. I had my other friend. We did the Junction. They had their anniversary, like 3-year open mic, or it's 2-year. He didn't go on till he was right behind me. I was 15th. He was 16th. He was supposed to be right behind me. He didn't go on until we went there at 8 p.m. He didn't go on until 12:15.
And no one's laughing at that point.
There was 4 people there.
Yeah.
It was me, his friend, and then this other guy. No, there was 4. It was oh my God. But hey, he went up. He did it. He gave it his all. Mike Lee. Mike Lee off
nice.
of Aaron Fights Everybody. That's him.
Well, we got to wrap this up anyway. It was really good. Thank you so much for coming in here and saying all the stuff that you are going through your history, because this is something that a lot of people need to hear, and it inspires them. Your passion towards what you do can ignite other people. And I see it, and in people that I can inspire, or vice versa, they inspire me, and it's just like one feeds the other, one hand helps the other, kind of thing.
Thank you for having me there.
Oh, no worries. And is there any you want to just pitch your feature? Is that what you're pitching right?
I'd say right now what I'm working on is we're developing the Followers feature. I mean, the web series is online at Followers Web Series, which leads to my YouTube channel, and I got a bunch of other comedy videos there. Which probably in the next few weeks I want to start putting weekly comedy videos on there. So
okay,
it's very hard. I'm just thinking about it, is developing a feature while putting out content, because content is going to keep that consistency train and just build that audience. So when that feature comes out, hopefully the audience is there
Nice.
to intercept it. So
yeah.
it's going to be a busy one, but I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
Great. Well, next time I'm going to call you again to come talk again after after your feature's done and everything.
Let's do it. Yeah, bring me in. Let's do it.
All right. Well, take care of yourself.
Sounds good. Thank you. Boom! And the Tons of Productions theme song. Bum, 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 bum.
All right, that was fantastic. I love talking to Milton. He's so inspiring. It's just unreal. Anyway, join me next week when I sit down and chat with one of my favorite people, Toby Hargrave, who is a local comedian, and he also is an actor in many independent projects as well as professional movies and television, so all around good guy. I hope everyone has a great week, and I will talk to you next Monday, all right? Take care.